guess what? Merit has released a perfume and they sent it to me. I got it on Wednesday. Merit is a well-known makeup brand and they've been amazing for me. They've sent me almost every new product launch they've had. I got an email from them saying that they were going to be launching a new secret product and did I want to receive it? And of course I did, but I didn't know what I was actually getting. If you're new to my channel, or even if you're not that new but you've never seen them, I have done a number of perfume reviews, but at some point I kind of got away from it because I think the perfume YouTube community can tend to promote overconsumption, kind of like beyond the appreciation of perfumes. But I myself am a perfume fan and I love to talk about new perfumes and sort of what they might even mean. So I was thrilled to see this. Now, you know my French is terrible, but my understanding is that l'extrait de parfums have more perfume oil. We should assume that this will have more perfume oil than an eau de parfum and less than straight up parfum oil. So right off the bat, the assumption here would be that this is a stronger perfume that will last longer. It is sold in a 1 ounce bottle, which is very beautiful. It's brand new to market, and I think that it is an important moment in a beauty brand when they release a scent, if that's something that they're building up to. I think the first scent a beauty brand releases should tell you a lot about the overall brand aesthetic and who they think the person wearing their makeup might be. And I think the harmony between the actual product that they're releasing here and my perception of the brand, kind of a clean girl, French girl chic, minimalist beauty brand, I feel like they have succeeded in releasing a scent that aligns with that brand while still bringing a little bit of glamour and surprise, which I think is also part of their brand. Merit lists the top notes as bergamot, pear, ambrette, and aldehydes. The ones that are most apparent to me are the pear, and I would say also the aldehydes. It is a sparkling perfume off the top, which was so surprising to me. I was initially assuming that this would be a warm skin scent, and it is, but I was surprised by the pear and the aldehydes. When I first sprayed this, I understood why they called it Retrospect. I was immediately transported back to my childhood and the perfumes that I remember smelling either in my mom's dresser or in the malls. The smell to me so much like a lot of the sparkling florals I remember from the 80s and the 90s. It's here. And the pear is here, but it's not an overripe, juicy pear. It is a green, crisp pear. I get the bergamot here, but not as much as in other fragrances, like perhaps Coco Mademoiselle. I feel like that's a much brighter citrus than this. The pear is way before the citrus note to me. And the ambrette I feel like is more noticeable later, less on the top and more in the middle. Ambrette is a seed that gives a musky smell, and it's present in Glacier's You and many other fragrances. It can give you kind of a bit of almost even like a plasticky, warm, clean note. It's in here, but on the top, I really got pear and aldehydes. Now, Merit lists the middle notes as being jasmine, rose, rosemary, violet, and orris. And I think that's pretty interesting. I can immediately smell the rose. The rose is very apparent to me. The jasmine is a clean jasmine. It's not indolic. It doesn't smell kind of dirty and thick. It doesn't smell like that at all. It's more of a soapy jasmine and like a soapy rose. Very clean. I do get a little bit of the rosemary. There is an herbal kind of almost woodsy scent. The rosemary feels apparent to me, which I love. I love an herbal. And then violet and orris. Violet and orris both give you a little bit of a cool floral scent. Orris is part of the iris root and can give you a soapy scent. Think of Prada's Infusion de Riz, that sort of thing. Powdery, dry, floral. It's all here. The middle is, I think, soapy. Now, when it dries down, the notes are listed as vanilla, musk, and moss. Vanilla, musk, and moss is a great base layer. Everybody loves vanilla. The vanilla is definitely apparent, but almost more in a warm way, a cozy way, not really in like a food way. It doesn't smell or give you the sensation of a gourmand frosting. It's more of like maybe the natural vanilla pod itself if you actually smell the ingredient versus a finished product that was vanilla flavored, if that makes sense. The musk is definitely there. That is the thing that maybe is like the closest to a Glossier You skin scent. You do get that natural kind of human, warm, clean skin scent. Very, very nice, very clean musk. And the moss is great because I understand that moss is a bit of a controversial ingredient in Europe. I don't know a lot about it, but I know that there were perfumes that were going to be reformulated because they couldn't have a certain kind of moss due to like an allergen in Europe. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that being a topic of conversation a few years ago. So I don't know the nature of this moss, but it does create a very earthy, grounding, warm but dry sensation, and that is how I experience all of these notes. So just a brilliant sparkling pear at the beginning, moving into a very clean floral soap, finishing with a dry warmth, dry earthy warmth. It's very, very beautiful. I think the thing that surprised me the most about these notes are that this perfume has more personality and more of a point of view than I was expecting. I think for a little while, I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like a lot of perfume brands have been playing it a little bit safe. And one of the things about the perfume world that draws a lot of us in is the idea that each scent will have a unique character and a unique personality. I mean, I think maybe we all have scents that we wear kind of on a day-to-day basis that are just nice, but maybe not statement making. I have those, I have a number that I wear, but for the most part, I really want my perfume to have a sense of craftsmanship and that the perfumer had a point of view. Fragrantica will link to the perfumer who makes a particular perfume, and you can see all of the other perfumes they've worked on. So Fanny Ball was the maker of this perfume, and she is also responsible for replicas When the Rain Stops, which I did a review on my channel a couple of years ago of that particular perfume. I loved it. That's a wonderful, fresh aldehydic rose that also has an earthy component. So I was really excited to see that she had done this perfume because I think that perfume had a lot of personality considering it was a fresh rose. That could maybe be boring. She made it interesting. She also did Autumn Vibes for Replica, and Autumn Vibes is an earthy kind of bright toasty scent that means to evoke the experience of walking in the woods in autumn. So Fanny, in addition to she's made a zillion perfumes, including like L'Interdit and the flankers for L'Interdit. She really has a huge catalog of perfumes, but most recently she made a couple that really caught my interest. So it was interesting to see that she had made this as well, and that my experience with this creation was that it had an interesting point of view while still hitting some of those pieces that I like. Earthiness, cleanness, and especially very, very beautiful. So I have been wearing this perfume now since Wednesday, like literally every minute of the day since Wednesday. I spray it on, I live with it, I let it get down to the point where we're in the skin scent phase, maybe like at hour 4 to 12, because this does last so very long. I have found that I want to wear this over and over again for every occasion. I've worn this to work. I've worn this to 2 bridal showers this weekend. It's been very busy. And I wore it to the orchestra. We went to the orchestra on Saturday night. So I have been at home, I've been at work, I've been on the town, and this particular fragrance has been, you know, really comfortable to wear the entire time for all occasions. It feels elegant, but it also feels clean. And even though it lasts so long and is high quality and powerful, I don't actually think that it has much of a sillage. I don't think that it's blasting out all around me. Almost nobody has commented on it because I can still smell it on myself when I go looking. Like if I kind of just bear down, you know, go looking for it, it's there. I just don't think everyone around me is experiencing it, which I think is kind of nice. I think that's part of the reality that we live in. As much as some people want to let everybody know what it is they're wearing. The reality is in the workplace, out in the world, that's not always appropriate. There are a lot of people with sensitivities, and there are a lot of places that I go where I see requests to limit the use of fragrances for that reason. There are certain places where that's true, and I feel like this perfume, and tell me if you guys have a different experience with it, if you have been able to try it, I think that this perfume will wear in a more intimate way and might be more appropriate for our contemporary society where we're trying to maybe respect boundaries with one another a little bit better than we did in the 80s. And you know, back then in the 80s especially, a lot of those perfumes were worn by people who also smoked cigarettes. So a lot of those perfumes I think had to like overpower some of those scents just to be known. And maybe that's less common now, I'm not sure. But this is a strong, long-lasting perfume. Just don't expect to fill the room with the scent if you buy it. So what else is this like in my collection? Now I only have what I have, but one of the first scents that I wanted to compare it to was Tocca's Florence, which is notable for having a bright pear on the top note. I think this one ends up leaning more heavily toward sort of like the blonde wood category and a little bit of like an appley green note, whereas this one goes deeper and warmer. This one stays kind of sparkling and clean and bright, and this one is smokier, deeper, a little more intimate. This is White Jasmine and Mint by Jo Malone. This is a discontinued scent. Very beautiful herbal jasmine, which I think there are some similarities here. I think that if you know this one, White Jasmine and Mint, I think the jasmine's more apparent in this perfume than in this one. And I think that this one stays lighter and brighter as well. Guerlain Samsara EDP is also powdery and woody, sandalwood and powder. I think that this particular scent is more dry, more powdery. I also think somewhat screechier. Don't come for me. I know that this isn't the original formulation of Samsara. When I wear either the EDT or EDP of Samsara, I feel like it can be a little screechy sometimes. That's just me. We talked about this recently, but Diptyque's L'Eau Papier is a musky, dry scent, less projection, less big. This one also is fleeting and kind of disappears quickly. I do think it has a bit of a dry, musky experience, sort of like this, but this has better staying power and more going on with the florals and with the herbs. Finally, for Prada's Infusion Dairy, which I mentioned earlier, this is a very green iris note, and I think it's also contains orris. This is a super, super green soapy iris, and I think this one is brighter and a little harsher than this. This one is mellowed out. I think maybe it's by the vanilla, maybe it's by the rose and jasmine, but I find this one to be much greener, much like, I'm gonna say screechy again. This is not screechy. So overall, I think Merit's Retrospect is designed to be a personal scent, certainly meant to be a signature scent, but I also think they were paying respect to perfumery in general. The fact that Merit worked with Fanny Ball is very interesting to me because it seems as though they were very serious about making a perfume that might wind up having a presence in the market that was memorable. Calling it Retrospect tells us that they wanted to look to the past of perfumery and maybe help us remember what it was like to wear perfume when it was maybe a little more floral, had a little more personality. And I'll say this, the first two perfumes that came to mind when I smelled it, because I did have an overwhelming nostalgic feeling, and I have no idea if this perfume smells like these perfumes I'm about to mention, but it provided that memory. And the two perfumes from my childhood that I remembered were Nina Ricci's L'air de Temps, which my mom had some Parfum on her nightstand, and I think I ruined it. I remember at one point going to the mall counter and getting eau de parfum and then like pouring it in there to help. But I haven't smelled it in so long, I can't even tell you if it smells like that. It just came to mind. And then I also remembered Chloe's Narcisse. Do you remember Chloe's Narcisse? I feel like that was so much louder and brighter and peachy and fruity. There's no similarity whatsoever to the actual scent of the two perfumes, but it came to mind, I remembered it. It brought it to my memory, and I cannot say why. It's not because of the name Retrospect, it was the actual scent, the experience of smelling the perfume brought me back, and I don't know why. I think it is a very beautiful perfume. I think it's super interesting that Merit wanted to come forward first with a point of view and something that really feels like perfume. This is a beautiful offering. I'm so grateful to have received it. It makes me excited about what's to come with perfumery. You know, perhaps we're in a new era. Maybe this new cycle that we're in right now is going to favor some of those nostalgic moments. Maybe this is just a lucky one-off. We will have to wait and see. Is this a product that you are interested? Have you had a chance to get your nose on it? Please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. It helps my channel so much. If you want to hang out again, please subscribe. I post videos on Sundays. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well out there, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for watching. Talk soon.